The New OGs. The New OGs is a State and Madison Entertainment production and is brought to you by Solar Masters. Look, Illinois is changing how people in Illinois get their electricity, and Solar Masters is helping homeowners take advantage of a program that lets them get solar power at no cost. If you're a single-family homeowner in the state of Illinois, you can lower your electric bill, raise the value of your home, and do something good for the environment without paying a single dollar out of your pocket to do so. In fact, Solar Masters can only work with you if they can save you money. Solar Masters is a Black-owned company, a SunPower dealer, an American panel maker with over 30 years of solar experience, and for the end of 2020, they were giving away a $1,000 cash rebate, and they've got a new rebate coming out for 2021. They even have a referral program that pays out as much as $500 per referral. So head over to www.gosolarmasters.com and get in contact for a free consultation. Order first when you know. We are also brought to you by People of Comedy. Get over to peopleofcomedy.com on Facebook, or People of Comedy on Facebook. Find them at that was some old man shit right there, wasn't it?
Find them peopleofcomedy.com goes to the Facebook. So
at Facebook. So yeah, you'll find them there. You'll find them at People of Comedy Network on Instagram. Go check out all the great shows they have. They've got a bunch of incredible podcasts. They are producing a ton of great comedy coming out of Chicago right now. They back some of the other great shows, one of which is actually one done by Joey Villagomez, one of the great Chicago comics who just recently released an album. Joey is with us. Joey, what's up, man? You there? What's going on, man?
In the house, baby.
How you guys
you were
doing,
just
man?
you were just finished up a podcast of your own, right? That's right.
Yeah. I just wrapped up an episode, man. Episode 6, I think. Yeah, episode 6.
What's the name of your podcast?
It's called Coming Up with Joey Villagomez, man.
Nice.
I try to, I feature artists, musicians, anybody coming up doing comedy, just who didn't fucking fall asleep and snooze during the pandemic and just kept the ball rolling, man. So I know a lot of graffiti artists, fucking community activists, a lot of people that did some dope shit in Chicago. And comedians too, you know. I'm trying to keep it funny too, so I'll mix in a comedian here and there. But
Cool.
it's a new podcast. It's up on, episodes are only on YouTube right now. And, you know, trying to pick up some speed and shit. But thanks again to, you know, James and People of Comedy Network, man.
our pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for letting me come on here and, you know, spitting it out. So,
yeah. Who'd you have on today, man? Who was your guy today?
I had Zach O'Ryan.
Okay.
Comedian.
Zacko!
You know, he
What's
left
going on
already,
with
but
him?
he'll check. I'm pretty sure he'll watch it later, man. But
Yeah.
you know, he had an interesting fucking summer and holiday season with him traveling the country, got his van stolen. I don't know if you guys saw that shit.
Yeah, it's
But,
wild.
yeah, I mean, he used the van to drive across country, do shows, and he got that bitch stolen in Nashville. So
God damn.
it's a crazy story,
got-
man.
What were you saying next?
I was just saying he got his van stolen, and then the rental car they gave him was like a newer version.
Yeah, of that
the same
van, like
of the same van.
Like they were fucking with him, yo. Like
yeah. Like,
that's what we were
that's all
talking
we
about.
got.
We were talking about how like the tow truck company, the insurance company, the car dealership, they were all in on it. They stole his shit. They were all in on it.
Yeah. They saw that van there, like, we know what we're about
Yep,
to do.
it's
here,
running
Joe.
good. We need parts off that motherfucker. Yeah, so
Yeah, because that's an old van. He was down in the country somewhere where there's a bunch of people that's like in Chicago, like you might see that van and be like, wow, I haven't seen a van like that in a minute.
no,
They're like,
the way he had it though, as clean as he had it, and he had a futon in the back with carpet, it would have got stolen in Chicago real quick too. And then you know, a mid 2000 Ford. You can steal that shit with a butter knife and a screwdriver, yo.
yeah, that's an easy steal. There's almost like literally a knife will start that car.
All you gotta do is get in. Yeah, a butter knife will start that fucking car, yo.
You know, it's crazy too, because I bet you Zacko looks like a slimmed down version of Aquaman. And like, as a matter of fact, I think that might be the first words I said to him when I met him. He was with Toomey and Toomey introduced us, and I was like, so what's it like walking around looking like Aquaman all the time? And he's like, it's pretty fucking nice, actually.
and then he fucking waved his hair like that in front of your face.
Yeah. And I was like, this dude's all right. I can fuck with him.
That's some confidence we can fuck with, right?
I just find it amazing that you guys know how easy it is to steal a car.
Hey, Rob, you know, where I'm from, man. I'm Mexicano, man. You know where I'm from, yo. Look,
Rob acts like he didn't also go to a public high school in Chicago.
Chicago.
Dude, I'm saying, like, you got to spread your crime around. My specialty is not car theft. It was other shit. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, here's the thing, though, Rob.
Yeah.
I grew up like I know I got family members. These Mexicans in my neighborhood, man. I mean, they could rig a car. I mean, they'll fix some
I
shit
know
for
exactly
you.
who you're talking about because my first wife lives down the street from you.
Yeah, I grew up in back of the yards. Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they like one. There's 2 blocks down from you.
Oh
If
shit!
that.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my friends stole cars back in the day. We've hidden stolen cars in people's garages. Like it's not
Joey, remember the master keys? You were in high school when the master
Yeah, we had
keys
the
were
master
around.
key that opens everything up and shit.
The Toyota and the Honda specific master keys
Yep.
were like if you could get in a Tercel, you get all types of shit.
That-
It was
that-
just one key,
Dude.
It would open and turn on any. That was before they put the fucking chips in the key. That's why they had put the chips in the keys.
Yeah, the key's not close to the ignition, it ain't turning on. But all them Asian cars, bro, I think there was like 2 years in the 90s where Honda Civics were just getting stolen.
Dude.
I'm talking about within seconds.
So, we weren't car stealing type motherfuckers. I wasn't who I crew. The only time I stole a car was an accident on college campus, and it was specifically for that reason. It was an accident. Somebody gave me the keys to their car, and I went and got into a car that I thought was theirs, and took that motherfucker and went shopping. And the bitch who owned the car, I literally drove straight past her with my groceries. And the funny thing is, like, I kind of liked her. So, like, when she was looking at the car, I was like, "That's what's up," you know.
Right. She was probably, damn, Excel got a car.
And I didn't
steal my car.
My car, goddamn it.
And I didn't know that I had stole this bitch car until the dude who let me borrow his car, like, I'm literally carrying the groceries and giving him his keys. He goes, "Oh, you didn't have to use my car, huh?" I was like, "What are you talking about? That's your car right there." He goes, "That ain't my car."
So your ass went for a joyride. You in joyride.
That is.
I know kids that would just take cars for joyrides. Like, I didn't steal it. I just went for a joyride. But you stole it, motherfucker. You weren't supposed to have it.
I was on a few joyrides in high school.
I'm not
dude, I had a friend pick me up. I've had a friend pick me up. You jump in, you're like, "Oh, you got a new car?" Nah, bro. Like, okay. And then they don't say nothing else.
No, bro. You know what that means.
Nah, bro.
There's
We just gonna
no
go pick up
other
some weed
answer.
right quick. And then, drop me off at home, motherfucker.
That's the one. That's the one when you get into the car and you feel like if you feel the reason to ask somebody, "Is this your car?"
Yeah,
You've
exactly.
been in too many cars that are not your car. Okay,
If it don't smell like a new car.
Look, I'm not saying I ain't never rode in a stolen car. I just didn't have the skills to steal one.
Right.
I'm in high school in the mid '80s and shit, Reagan around, crack everywhere and shit, and it's cold outside. We finna get a ride
from Zany's Rosemont. So check that out too, man.
So
January 23rd.
So just so we're clear on how that works right now, the comics are at Zany's, right?
We go to Zany's. I think they zoom it from there.
Right. So you can still. So it's not like somebody sitting at their crib in front of their couch, like trying to tell.
Nah, we're gonna be on a legit stage.
You look like a real professional stage comic somewhere. So at least if you get in on that, if you're an audience member and you're getting in on that, you can actually watch them like you're watching, like you'd be watching.
Yeah, you're watching like a live comedy show.
Especially at home, you could be watching these people on stage too. So it's a real legit show. So
that's amazing.
You get tickets online at Zanies.com.
Yeah, Zanies.com.
Chicago.Zanies.com.
Chicago.Zanies.com. Yeah. So January 23rd, Calvin. I don't know who else is on it, but Calvin's a funny motherfucker, Calvin Evans. So
you're enough, but you and Calvin Evans are definitely more than enough.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You guys are enough. Yeah, man. We're super psyched for all this shit you're doing. Thanks for
letting me come on real quick, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I gotta drive back to the south side in my stolen whip. So
we still full when we have you on for a full episode or vice versa at some point.
Hey, I know people that have stolen a car and then got that stolen car stolen from them. I know I know a motherfucker like that, man.
Oh, it's already peeled up nice.
We know he stole it.
The wire's already hanging out. We just got all right, guys.
You gotta pull him, bro. All right, man.
Appreciate that.
Take it easy.
All right, y'all be safe, man. Happy New Year, guys.
Man. Happy New Year, brother.
New Year, bro.
Absolutely.
That is so funny. Yeah, I used to say that all the time. Man, that's peeled up already.
Joey's dope, man.
He's already nice and broke.
He's one of my favorite people in comedy because he's just persisted the whole time. Like he's I remember when I first started seeing him do comedy, him joking about how like he had gotten a shot early and he was still going, and like now he's really getting the right shot, and it's because he's still stuck in even after all that time. So I'm happy. I was glad he was able to jump on for a minute. He's one of my favorite fucking people in comedy. What's going on with y'all, man? What's happening? What's your week outside of what we're obviously going to talk about for the remainder of this show? What has XL? What has your personal week been like?
So since you want to know what my life has been like,
Like I can handle that without us getting into it, right?
I don't know. I don't know that I can because, like, I have been anticipating this happening all week. Like, I had the popcorn on Sunday. Like, oh, this shit go jump off. like, you know what I'm saying? You knew
it was on the grocery list. Let me go pick this up.
I said from the election that I thought they was gonna win Georgia. It was closer than I thought it was gonna be, but I thought they'd win. I thought the Dems were gonna win Georgia, and
I thought you meant you were preparing for Insurrection Day.
No, I'm saying all this shit. None of this shit. I'm not trying to brag.
How he was prepared for that.
I'm saying all this shit was predictable. Like all of it. It wasn't. None of these people. I guess I can understand shock, but not surprised. I can understand being like, I'm not surprised this happened. It shocked me that it did. And I guess I can understand that emotion a little bit, but like, I knew about what was going to happen because I've been following this shit the whole time. But when I watched the speech, I watched Fox News ran his speech with like no interruptions whatsoever. They ran the whole fucking thing for an hour. And like, when I heard him say, when this is over, we're marching over to the Capitol, I was like, oh shit. Because I was wondering, I was like, I know he's having this rally and they're at the Capitol. Are these motherfuckers actually gonna go? Because when the rally wasn't at the Capitol already, I was like, oh, I thought these motherfuckers was gonna go do something at the Capitol, but they all the way over there. Oh, they're gonna march over there. But when he said he was marching with them, I knew that was some bullshit. Like right out the gate. But I like all this shit. I saw it coming, so I was tense all week.
Yeah, what about you, Rob? Man, what was your? I mean,
well,
you've gotten to exist outside. You've had to do some other things that have had you not necessarily keeping a dead eye on the news nonstop. So, How has your last week been?
Well, I had to get some things done. I had some clerical things to handle because it's the beginning of the year. I had to change insurance and all that other stuff. But I knew that this was going to happen when I seen on the news that they were having a rally the same time that they were going to finish the inaugural college, because this is what he said he was going to do from the beginning. There was no question of this. So now I'm going to give a little more color to what X was saying about not being surprised. I wasn't surprised it had happened. I had just never seen people get into the nation's capital and treat it like it was a high school during summertime. You understand what I'm saying? Like I had never seen a man be able to get on a scaffolding and raise another flag to one person. I knew it was likely to happen because if once the truth ain't the truth no more, but actually looking at it did get a little bit of emotion from me. Like, and emotion was not.
I mean, you're the only vet out of the three of us. So like and like, you know, some people go and they join the military and that's because they feel like they need to. And some people do have a feeling of service. And we've never really talked about where your thoughts on that lie, but I would imagine that if you had to be a part of an armed service for a few years to see anything like that is like the antithesis of what you put some time and effort into. Am I right?
That was the disease of my mind at the time.
Yeah.
I was a patriot. I had decided that I was going to give my life to being in the military, and I was going to be an officer, and I was going to rise as high as I could rise. And then I came back from basic training, and I was in Inglewood, and I had went over to Marquette, where, and that was towards the end of the gentrification, but it was still some mean ass white folks over there. And I went into a 7-Eleven because it was the only one in the area. And this dude walks up to me and goes, I thought this was a white neighborhood. And I thought he was joking, right? I thought he was joking. This is Chicago on the South Side. And I thought he was joking. And I was like, well, we take it over now, homie. And I go into the cooler shit, get what I wanted to get. And he came in, he's like, where do you live, boy? And when he said boy, now I got a bottle in my hand. And I'm known for fucking people up with bottles. Another story.
This is the story of our people.
Man, so I take the bottle and hold it like that. I was like, what you say? And my boy was like, hey, man, it's too many of them. We got to go. And so I just put the shit down and walked out. But I was like, man, I'll slap the shit out this motherfucker before they get here, you know? And when I went outside, dude, I am not exaggerating. Already, it was a carload of guys in a green Nova throwing bottles and shit at us as we were walking back east. So after that, I was like, fuck the Army. If it's people that feel like this about me, but I still wasn't totally, because Army is difficult to be in. Right. And so I was like, well, I don't want to get that much effort. Then I was like, well, maybe I could protect some people. And I took this job at the jail. Now I didn't want the job, but I'm like, well, you know, if I'm a, you know, if I can be used to help somebody, I'll do that. And got in there and got even more disillusioned with the nation. And now I'm 50 and I see exactly what it was, and I can tell you in detail.
Yeah. I think for me, you know, I started reading shit about and from Alex Jones in probably around the year 2000. It was probably 96 or 97 when it was even before that. It was probably 95 or 96 when someone first gave me the book Behold the Pale Horse, which is a conspiracy theory book. Mm-hmm. And I'd always, you know, I'm a kid who comes from a home of a black parent and a white parent. So my first thought is immediately like, maybe the way they say things are supposed to be ain't necessarily true, because I kind of dug who I was deep down, but like to the world, I was this big like no of a person, right? So like I'm already just like my outlook on the world is already like the way y'all saying shit's supposed to be may not be right. So I'm real open to reading about conspiracy theories, but that shit had turned me off over time. However, what I had always recognized is that there are some people who are way more serious about it than I was. You know what I mean? Like while I'm sitting here going, but yeah, you can see where the bullshit is here and how you have to kind of take a leap of faith to buy into this part of it. And you just got to assume this part of it. And like, there's not really an accurate like proof or line drawn from here to here. So like, that's why I can't be as down. Like, yeah, some shit's fucked up and obviously people conspire to do things, but it's not like this. And like the problem is that there are people that just don't do that part. And they just stay with it because they are still unwilling to take personal responsibility. And you know that. And there are also people who, because of generations of the DNA of living in an oppressive place, whether they really recognize that's what it is or is not, from the perspectives that we've built here, I think there are people that don't realize that they have these things that lead them to buy into ideas because they have been told that white people should always be in charge and that money is what matters. And it like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, which by the way is a mocking term because it's not a real thing you can do. It's a mocking, to tell somebody to pull yourself up by your bootstraps is a mocking concept. It's telling somebody that they're like, that's an impossibility you are suggesting. So like, but they bought it. And that is why you have people who live in Section 8 housing in Mississippi who are Trump supporters. And so for me, it was really, it's been in my head to always think, I hope that isn't going to happen. But if you don't think that just because we put down Hitler that nobody's ever going to act a fool again, you're crazy. And like that these people, like we sat here and we just watched this Watchmen series on HBO where we were like, man, how crazy was it? Black people were actually doing well and they bombed the fucking city. Philadelphia, black people doing well. And they literally bombed the city. Okay. These aren't different people.
Yeah.
These are their grandkids. These are their kids. These are the same people. So for me, it was really just like, well, at some point, somebody's gonna come and push the shit too far. You ever see the videos where a cat's sitting there and they got a little item on the corner of the desk and the motherfucker be tapping it and it slides a little bit and tap a little bit more and the cat's just like, it won't stop until it tips over. And so that's kind of how I felt going into it. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, like, just like you guys probably were, I was like, oh shit, this is fucked up. But at the same time, I was like, but also like they've been telling you and we've been telling you, like the people that didn't want this shit to happen were also like, hey man, I know you guys think it's just online, but also they're saying they're going to literally murder people. Also, they literally are buying all the guns. Also, by the way, also they are literally like passing around how to make bombs and here's how you would do it. And they're all ex-military guys, and a lot of us aren't. And so, like, even in the common sense world of like what you should be afraid of, hey man, if there's a group of people that know a bunch of tactical warfare shit saying we don't like how you're leading, and you're like, but we're correct. Like, hey, guess what? It's easy to be afraid of the guys who know tactical military warfare shit. Like, they are not helping ease my concern, and they are playing into it. They are also going, yeah, like I watched the videos of the guys who are like, you got a gun? And the guy with the video is like, no. And they're like, yeah, you're going to be an easy one to take out. You're not helping ease the tide here. That is not, we're not growing together that way. And so, like, it didn't seem odd to me because racist gonna racist. This is at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, like white people, and I don't mean this as a like as an all, but as the ones who like to maintain control, white people don't be just giving up control, even to other white people. They don't let that. Look at England and Ireland. Look at us in England. White people do not just be like, oh, we're gonna give it up. We're just gonna let you have some shit.
Yeah, you definitely got to punch the motherfuckers in the mouth.
Look at how much they took from the Native Americans who had all of it.
Yeah, you got to punch them. You got to punch the motherfuckers in the mouth, dude. You know what's crazy about how this shit went down is when it happened, like in the actual moments of it happening. When you messaged and said they're storming the Capitol or whatever. And later on, I messaged. I was like, "Oh shit, they're storming the Capitol." You were like, "What the fuck did you think I said?" It was because this is the part I forgot from earlier. When I said when I watched his speech, I knew that they were going over there, but in my mind, I thought that they were going to face an army when they got there. But I stopped watching for a bit. I think I was playing FIFA or something, and then I turned it on and I saw niggas climbing through the windows. And I was like, oh shit, they stormed the Capitol.
Let's talk about how we got there, because I think how they got to this part is really important, because the setup to even get to this was there was a runoff election in Georgia on Tuesday. And the timing of this is the type of shit that makes you go, yeah, this is of course a simulation, because there's no way these two things should line up so easily together, right? Like, we have Georgia, a state that ended up being like essentially the state that's the difference between a win and a loss for Joe Biden, which is also a state that has a runoff if the vote between the candidates is within a certain percentage, which of course it ended up being. And the certification
also came back.
Hold on. Also, wait, we're also the certification for the election that is where there's going to be definitely an objection to this state is going to be the day after this runoff election, in which we know the votes where there's like a ton of issues with, like, this is the most set up for bullshit type thing. Like, the fact that Warnock and Ossoff won do not help this concern.
You know what?
Because they lose, they just go, oh, well, the Republican, like, all of a sudden the voting machines would have been, because you know how they are, right? They'd been like, well, they must have fucking gotten out. Obviously, Q got in there and got whatever they were fucking around with straightened out, so the Republicans could, because there'd be no argument. Mitch McConnell would be the majority leader. He would have shut down all that objection shit. Biden would have gone ahead and been it wouldn't have been this. Biden would have gone ahead and gotten the presidency, and the kids have been like, well, we got the Senate and the fucking, we're going to run shit still. I don't think it would have happened.
So here's a crazy thing. I think they might do the full-blown impeachment. Like, I think he impeached and convicted. Like, I know that there's a bunch of Republicans still trying to ride with him or whatever, but the reason why I think that he might actually get convicted this time, and it's not just some hope shit, it's they're Republicans.
Well, let's talk about why whether he's gonna get convicted or not in a little bit. I want to stick on this Warnock and Ossoff shit for a minute, because
I'm sorry.
I know you want to
get into all this shit.
The stage. Yeah,
I know.
I want to set the stage for it, because you got a situation in Georgia where these guys, Ossoff and neither of them had won their first run. They were not the lead dogs going into this.
Well, Warnock had more votes than Loeffler, but he only got like 32%.
Right.
So there was nothing to make us believe that he was going to be able to get 50%. Because when he had an opportunity to, he only got 32. So there was not a lot of hope. You know what I'm saying?
They tried really hard to try and make him look bad down the stretch, but it was like it was. So,
you know, she did an ad where she darkened his face.
Of course she did. Of course she
and
did.
she attacked Ebenezer Baptist Church. Like
she actually visited.
But it's Martin Luther King's church. You don't have to. I don't give a fuck how that's beyond racist. That's just super stupid. Yeah, you don't got to know that much about black people to know not to fuck with Martin Luther King.
That's white people. If there's any black person that white people are like, but if there was one good,
yeah. Like one thing you know.
But what I'm saying is, but you understand what I'm saying. When she wanted to be in office, she went to the dude's church. She has been to the church to speak, talking about civil rights and love and shit. Let me tell you something about these folk that you got to truly understand about the South. Because my family, my mother is from Mississippi by the Delta. The Delta is a place where water has come and deposited and left a shape of a triangle. And the soil is richer than soil everywhere else, which is a perfect place to grow cotton. Right? And cotton was what made all this shit. Cotton. So what I'm saying to you is there was no goddamn way they expected two people, a Jewish fella and a Negro, to win in the land of motherfucking cotton. There ain't no way in the hell that was going to happen. And just all the things that you said set it up. But the one thing that I don't think people understand. Now, I know they've been kissing Stacey Abrams' ass and they should have been way before now. But I'm saying, like, it ain't nothing but millions of Stacey Abrams living with us in our beds and shit. And we treating them like they don't know shit. You motherfuckers need to shut the fuck up and start listening to these women. They telling you what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying. Like, dude, man, dude.
Stacey Abrams is Ayanna Stark. Ira Stark. Like, this bitch had a list. She's running through every politician in Georgia right now. He wronged me. I'm taking your job. I'm taking your job. Like, Brian Kemp, 2022 campaign has to, like, in the movie, this is the part where he's got to offer her, like, a lieutenant governor or some shit like that. He's got to do something to keep this bitch from running against him because there's no way you go.
I want to be in the room when he offers her lieutenant governor and she just starts laughing like a hyena. Where she's like, ah, you know that ain't gonna never happen, nigga.
Pat, yo shit. Pat, yo shit.
So her story is pretty amazing, actually.
This is political John Wick.
She's got a wild, like, you know, the thing about it is they underestimated somebody who had actually done the work, and then by the time they realized it was way too late, because she will tell you herself that running for governor of Georgia was a test campaign. She said that was a test run to see if the theories that I had learned from my parents, who they moved to Georgia, I think when she was a teenager or something, to go to like Bible school. They wanted to learn how to become pastors, and they started a flock. And like she took what she learned from them on how to grow a congregation, and that's how she got people in Georgia voting. And she set clear standards as to what they should be, the issues that they need to make sure they're addressing, and that's what she went out and did. And that's why people showed up. And they underestimated that was a real thing that she could do. Until it was, I mean, by the time they figured it out, we had, like you said, a Jewish, like obviously XL and I are very happy about a black and a Jewish guy. It's a mitzvah. It's a
shanda for the goyim. It's a shanda for the goyim.
It feels like one of the things I always think about when I think about Georgia is how the incentives to like make movies and television there have helped change the landscape. There's been two things that have really affected the landscape. One, there's been a re-influx of black people who moved back to Georgia and Atlanta and that county specifically to like build businesses. People shit all the time on black people about like, well, why don't you go to Atlanta, motherfucker? Like, you want to go see what the fuck black people going home to build some shit? Like, we talk about Tyler Perry, but he's not the only black dude who went back home to Georgia to go build some shit up. Like, that's where there is a small bit of an empire being built. So like, if you want to see what, and if you're gonna be white in that area of Georgia, you have to be real cool with that shit. Like you gotta be, you know what I mean? Like John Ossoff's credentials is he worked for John Lewis. Okay, so like that nigga wasn't gonna get hired. They were gonna vote for him. The reason he got less votes and had a tighter race than Warnock is not just because is because he was not black. Okay,
because who he was running against.
And he was running against a guy who was strong. Yeah. Loeffler had taken a seat that she didn't win, and Perdue has got a long history of family involved in what's going on there.
I don't believe. I believe David Perdue still can't believe he lost that motherfucking race, because that motherfucker had 2 different debates that he didn't even go to. One they just canceled, but the other one, Ossoff went just like straight ran that nigga while he wasn't there.
You want to know what the coldest shit is when he did that debate and there was just a podium over there and he was just like, see, if he was here, he could tell you about how he don't do this shit. But he's not here. He's not even willing to come and say that shit is like, that is the fun.
That's why you can't not go to that shit. That's 100% why you can't not go. You just gave that dude an hour-long commercial of why you ain't shit.
but even with all of that, he just barely won. If it wasn't for Stacey Abrams, that motherfucker be sitting at the crib right now.
Hey, racism is a powerful drug, my nigga. Like,
it is a powerful drug because they advertise that state as being one where like a Republican governor is recent. I think it was 2002 was the first time they had a Republican governor in like 150 years or some shit. But obviously, for a lot of those years, the Democrats...
It was Dixiecrats.
Yeah, they were Dixiecrats. They were like, slave owners who then changed to like working class supporters. And then they came back in with that compassionate conservatism shit.
Yeah.
And came back and regained. And that's... There's a period of time in the late 90s where there were people who were getting elected as Democrats and then like flipping to Republican in Georgia, like in Georgia House and Senate.
Yeah.
Like, they were just like, oh, no, that's not the thing.
For anybody
we don't like black people. That's not what that means anymore.
For anybody who's new to the program and not up on your American history, the entire South was Democratic before it was Republican because they were all racist as fuck because Lincoln was a Republican.
Yeah, they try and play that game. Republicans nowadays try and play that game like it's all the same, like Republicans have been the same since then, like it's the same group of people.
Like it's the same party. Like, really?
And it wasn't like it all happened in one fell swoop, right? Like there was a time when there were guys that were still like in the Klan and the Democratic Party that had also civil rights people in the Democratic Party. Like that was, I mean, probably right now still.
Democratic stood for working class.
Right.
Democratic stood for those who were not the carpet bagging. These people came over here and just started making money. It was like, forget the world. They all work for me now.
Well, and when you're getting, go ahead.
I was going to just say, you talking about Democrats? One of the knocks on Joe Biden was that he went to a Grand Wizard's funeral. He spoke at a Grand Wizard's funeral. That motherfucker was a Democrat. Like the dude's funeral that he went to, that spoke at, like.
Well, that's the thing is, so you use an election. Like, I mean, every election comes with a strategy, and a party has a platform that it takes on. And people of certain affiliations get so fed up at a certain time. It's not like it's not like the Klan gets together and is like, all right, all now on Tuesday, we're all switching to Republican. Like, that's not what happened.
But the thing is, Bobby,
you're just like, oh yeah, I've been running in this party for a while. It's no longer useful to me this way, and now I'm going to vote a different way from now on.
Bobby, it kind of did do that though. They kind of was like, okay, on Tuesday we break. It was kind of like that because they signed the Civil Rights Bill. And once we signed the Civil Rights Bill, there's like, we out. Niggas is free. Got to do something about that.
Yeah,
you know
large scale, right. Yeah.
And the other thing is, what do you think? Why do you think Ronald Reagan was so effective? See, that's the thing that people are not paying attention to, is that if you could convince a motherfucker some shit, then the world is your oyster. Now you got Mr. America, the Big Gipper, and all this other bullshit, riding on horses and shit, and ain't got no horse shit on his shoes because he's that kind of guy. You
So
understand?
if you're not old enough to know what Rob's talking about, they used to show ads, and like they would open up, like they'd be like about to interview Ronald Reagan when he was running for an office, and they'd show like, they like B-roll footage of him like doing like his regular daily shit. He'd be riding around on a horse. He'd be up on a horse like, wow, this nigga's a cowboy. Can we have a cowboy president? Are you fucking kidding me? Like that's how they lead into the interview.
And then this motherfucker tells the country, nigga, he was like, look, y'all getting fucked because we ain't got a big enough dick. That's what he telling them. Let me get the dick a little bigger and the fucking won't go as deep. And gets these people to believe that switching the tax burden off of the people who could pay taxes down to the people who it take more people to do it, but they could pay the taxes too. Now all of a sudden you ain't corporate, man. If you ain't got a corporation when you making money now, you a fool.
100%. Yeah, it was. It's the Southern strategy, right? It's the Lee Atwater Southern strategy. Where you can't say nigger anymore, so now you got to say, you got to create all these different
urban
terms.
Busing,
urban busing. You got to talk about busing. You got to talk about safe suburbs. You got to talk about thugs and criminals, and you got to talk about
what do you call it? Entitlements.
Right? Yeah. The argument. That's why I tell people, like, don't tell me that they're pro-life, because that's not a real thing. That's not. We're all pro-life. Everybody's pro-life. You're a fucking. Well, I know some nihilists, but for the most part, that's a different type of thing.
90-some% of us are,
but like,
especially our own.
Yeah, but those people are just anti-abortion. So just they're anti-women's choice. Like that's what they're like that's what they're pro. They're pro holding women down, right? Pro not saving Von Miller. That's
amazing to me.
That's a situation. So that's a thing. Like, I'm tired of all that bullshit where they just make up all that's what they use though. They use that, and I agree with you, Rob. They use that. It's that setup to where that's how they can slide people over, but that's how you get some stragglers in there. So anyway, the Wednesday morning comes, they give Ossoff the win in the morning. So that we got a 50-50 deadlock in the Senate, which means the tiebreaker of anything that can be decided with a simple majority is Kamala Harris. So obviously the signal to everybody who has any common sense, and a lot of people who think that means that we are now going to turn into a socialist nation tomorrow, was that the jig is up, right? Like everything's free. They're about to make water free again. It's like, oh, how dare they? How dare they make water free?
The shit that's insane about these motherfuckers is the stuff that they believe is. Like, it doesn't even make a good fantasy movie script. Like, if sci-fi put this movie on, somebody's getting fired. Like, they lose it. But it's the shit they believe that Hillary Clinton is like a queen of a pedophile ring. That JFK Jr. is still alive, and of all things, working with Donald fucking Trump. I swear to God, there's not a Kennedy alive that would talk to fucking Donald Trump. Like that. There's not a,
he couldn't get in the room. He couldn't get in the room with them, most likely, and they weren't awesome people either, by the way.
No, they're not. But they're better than Donald Trump.
They were also also shady.
Yeah, but they're better than Donald Trump. At least they have some shame.
So,
let me just point out one more thing, because all of the evil that you are now living through, this modern iteration of white supremacy, because it goes through cycles, right? They can't make it as obvious as they used to, so they got to make it a little better. And the latest version of it came to you by Ronald Reagan. The exact same economic decisions Ronald Reagan has made put the framework for now. So even if they change taxes 3 or 4 points one way or the other, when Ronald Reagan took office, taxes was at 70 or some shit, 90%. If you made over a certain amount, which means that you had to buy things, right? Like I have to hire a certain amount of people, I have to give it the tax. That's the way you make everybody make money. When they start telling people you don't have to pay the taxes, you just keep your money and give people jobs. He had to do that anyway under the old tax law. So what I'm saying to you is, it doesn't matter if Kamala Harris could break a tie until they start breaking up this economic bullshit that Reagan did.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've got to change that setup with what they got going on. And they started the certification on Wednesday. We walked in there. They got through like 2 states because, of course, there's going to be an alphabetical order. before they got to Arizona. And of course, the first 2 states were Republican states anyway. So it's just like, well, this time, who wrote this script? Is this
and the exact third one?
Is this the Sorkin script? What's going on here? What am I living in right now? Is this the trial of the Joe Biden one?
In the moment of that happening, something that I remember is both of you in our chat thread mentioned that McConnell looked scared, that he looked nervous. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And conspiracy theory me the fuck up. I don't give a shit if you think it is and when or not. I think it's the real meat here. I have a feeling that them niggas knew that shit was gonna happen in that way. Because if you go back, if it's possible to find the footage of when he came up to speak, when he said the shit like this isn't gonna work, Joe Biden's gonna be the president, whatever. When he was giving that speech, I know he was looking at his members, but the way that he was looking back was like he was waiting for somebody to say, "Oh, they breaching the what else?" And so like he was looking back like he was afraid. He was like you ever see one of those motherfuckers that like they got to wear the wire to set up the boss and they all scared and shit.
I mean, here's the thing: I don't like Mitch McConnell, but at the same time, like I don't know if Mitch McConnell is an idiot. I don't think you know what I mean. Like if his man tells him, "Hey, yo, Trump down the street talking shit, talking about we marching to the Capitol," then Mitch is like, "Listen, this shit is not going to work.
Right.
Call it off." You know what I mean?
Two things. One, Mitch McConnell been there for a long motherfucking time. Everybody in the motherfucking town know what's about to happen. You know Mitch McConnell know if don't nobody else know. Now, here's the other thing. He get to work, it ain't no whole lot of police. It ain't enough barriers and shit. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing going on.
Oh fuck! I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, everybody driving in is like awfully light on staff today. Does everybody have COVID? What the fuck is going on? There's like 4 cops. Yes. There's 4 cops.
Wow.
They don't look like he's 370 pounds. We ain't gonna stop nobody coming.
Man, that's the bad stink.
One guy on a horse. What the fuck is going on?
That's the bad stink scenario all the way around.
When the thing is too,
and then the backup ain't there.
And the thing. Wait. Let me add one more thing, Bobby. Please hold that thought.
Yeah.
The motherfuckers that you pay, because I used to be one of them. The motherfuckers that you pay to protect you, right? Most of them don't really love this country, and you know it. They love violence. They love checking black people. But if you gonna act like we don't want you to act, we'll check your ass too.
For McConnell, yeah, especially that's what I was gonna say is like also like you don't get to be that. This will sound conspiratorial to probably white people, but you don't get to be that high up in the leadership of this country without knowing what the real far right white motherfuckers are talking about trying to do. Like if you're Mitch McConnell, you are not like unsure as to whether them white people down the street are willing to come up in the Capitol. You know exactly who the motherfuckers are because you've hunted and fished with their brothers and their daddies and their cousins and shit. You've been this nigga had to be carried out because he was a guy who survived polio. So he has been around long enough to know. Okay, he's met most of the white people in this country, most likely. Okay.
That's like a white people bar mitzvah. They meet Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell knows every white motherfucker in Kentucky. He knows who they're related to.
This is my ultimate lesson, bro.
Polio, my nigga.
This is what I'm telling you, bro. This is my ultimate lesson. You look around you, and shit will tell you what's happening. When I look up and see them take that white boy out with the fly on his head and run him up out of there, I'm like, shit, I'm finna go too. Shit, I'm going to my car. Fuck this. They done ran the vice president the fuck up out of here. It's time for me to get the fuck up out of here too. I wouldn't have wanted to be there because of COVID anyway. But when I seen them go and he didn't see it coming, you're like, what? Oh, run? Okay, I'm running. Then I'm running with that motherfucker. I'm going when he leaves.
Yo, at some point, someone's going to have to, and I said this on social media, but I said at some point, somebody who is wearing like a suit, something important, business clothes, in like a commission or like in a court of law is going to have to look Rudy Giuliani in the eye and say, what did you mean trial by combat? And do so with a straight face.
Yeah.
And then Rudy is going to have to then.
I didn't expect that there was going to be this kind of violence.
Hey man, what if? That's a pretty goddamn good Rudy, dude. That's pretty good Rudy.
Not the affidavits.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just meant the paperwork had to get done. I just meant we had to stop this certification. I didn't know. I'll tell you, that's what he gonna say.
I need you to say trial by combat for me, Robin.
I didn't mean combat. I just meant lawyership.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Dude, these motherfuckers so predictable, man. And dude, I ain't even that high yet.
Oh shit, man.
Hey, did you see the video of them in the tent watching the motherfuckers?
Yes!
Oh god damn.
These niggas was laughing about this shit, fam.
Hey man, dig it.
That was not then though. No, that was before. That was before.
No, that was before they dismissed.
That was
him.
not. He was at the White House. Trump. So that's the crazier thing is like when Trump said, "Let's march down to the Capitol," like all of them followers marched down to the Capitol. Trump went to the White House. Trump ain't marched no goddamn Capitol. Trump was like, "Nah, 1600 Pennsylvania Ave, nigga, we out here. We ain't."
He jumped in the presidential Uber and put in change course.
You know who did not storm the Capitol building? Donald Trump. That nigga was in the fucking crib watching OAN.
Hey, he stormed the KFC around the corner.
On the crib eating a quarter pounder. Like, this is wild as hell.
This is crazy, my nigga.
This is crazy as fuck.
National Guard. Nah, nuggets.
Oh my God, that's funny.
No,
that's the other thing I just want y'all to remember is that, okay, I had paused my shit because I didn't want to see no commercials. But that was before the invasion, right? So it ain't gonna be no more commercials. So I'm way behind. They telling me shit. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? I'm like,
yeah, so we're in a chat. We're in a chat normally, and X and I are watching this shit in real time. And Rob had some shit to do, so he had this shit on hold. And X and I just, even though X and I obviously could just communicate with each other like humans, like we normally do, we just stay in the chat, just still giving updates. And Rob was like, "I am not to that part yet," and like
we watching a series of some shit. Like we watching Gilmore Girls and we're a season ahead.
At one point, I was like, "They're at Pelosi's office." He goes, "I am not there yet," and I'm like, "Spoiler alert."
Oh shit!
Oh my God!
One of the things we had talked about was that there were not a lot of police on duty there, and then the stories were coming out later that there were officers who were flashing their badges who were actually with the people coming in, which obviously is why it's so light. Like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to make it that day. Oh, what's wrong? You'll be sick? No, I'm gonna be breaking into this motherfucker. You work here, yeah, but I gotta cope with these guys today. Can you let me in? And they were like, "Yeah, we'll let you in, no problem." These motherfuckers moved the gates and let these motherfuckers come in there. This is the Capitol building, y'all. This is I mean, if you were on social media, you've seen all the memes of like, this is what it was like when Black Lives Matter was out protesting. This is Raphael Warnock, the new senator from fucking Georgia, being arrested for praying outside of the fucking.
Not outside, he was inside the rotunda.
Inside the rotunda.
But he
praying. But like, one guy
praying to a God given him by them.
Yeah, just praying to their crazy shit.
Dude, the best shit, not the best shit, but one of the funniest memes out of all the very many funny memes out of this shit was the one you shared with us. I don't know who originated it, but the fact that these people broke in to get into the Capitol, but they were walking in between the red velvet ropes.
Yeah, they
just broke in.
They literally go, they're storming the Capitol, and they're showing pictures of guys like breaking actual windows and crawling through the windows to get inside. And then they cut to another scene, and it's the middle of the rotunda, and these guys just walking orderly down through the velvet line. Like, this is where you're going to have decorum? It's...
Yeah, it looked like a fourth grade class or something.
Yeah. The thing is like the lie that you're going to hear is that there was no actual plan. They just wanted to go and like get a message out. But there's been a couple things that have happened since. There's pictures that have come out of guys who broke in, who had like zip ties, a bundle of them on their hip. So like, I don't know why you bring a bunch of zip ties to shit unless you plan on zip tying a bunch of people. Like, what are you planning to do? There is also one of the people who got arrested who was part of the insurrection. They found his car parked nearby, like the car of his that was found near the Capitol building had like 16 Molotov cocktails in it, an M4, I think, gun, and some other shit. Like, there was just like, oh, you were like, you're here for mayhem, obviously.
No, this my regular traveling bombs. It's my right as an American. This is my Second Amendment bomb.
it took like a little bit of time before everybody jumped on board and was like, oh, this is not just a protest. These guys are rioters. These are insurrectionists. This is an attempted coup. Like, what happens if they get a hold of Nancy Pelosi? Do you think they're just gonna like give her a talking to and then let her leave? They threw down a woman who was with the New York Times at one point, who was just a camera person, and we're about to fuck with her until some people showed up. So
and
like,
then they smashed all that camera equipment to let you know we don't even want you to look at us tab this shit.
They tore up an AP newsstand. AP is a neutral news org. They don't lean anyway. There's no bias at all to the AP. It's just the Associated Press. That's all their job is to do. There's no lean in any of their stories. It's one of the most center news agencies on the planet.
It's the Associated Press is where everybody gets their news from. The spin is the spin goes with, the people from each side pick the part that they want.
Right.
Get this shit from the Associated Press. That's why it's the Associated Press.
It is essentially the core news agency that is out there.
It's like the press union or some shit like that.
Like the official basic bone story of what's happened. That's all that
they did.
Do.
And if this is what I'm saying, this shit is okay. If you and I and X knew that this was going to happen, and part of people knowing it was going to happen is because they told you on social media. Don't nobody not tape everything. Like when I worked for the sheriff's department, there was a lot of shit that I did that I should say I'm sorry for, right? And a lot of the times you get away with it, it's because there's no cameras. Now everybody got a camera. And not only are you going to do this crime, you broadcasting to the world that you're doing this crime. Why is that? Because if they'd have called Nancy Pelosi's ass, they'd have cut her head off and held it up for Twitter. I'm telling you, man, these people are savage. Yeah. Savage.
Dude, White Cater, that's 100% what they was going to do. And like the shit, these motherfuckers are already lying and trying to say that it wasn't them, it was Antifa. There was some Antifa that flipped into it because
the truth don't matter. You don't have to be true.
They are not interested in taking responsibility. That is how it always is. The issue is the same way it always is that they're never willing to take responsibility. I had retweeted a story that really rang true with me about this lady who said she had a neighbor she's white, she's a single mother. He was an asshole who was definitely racist. And back when Obama was president, he said some shit about, Obama was born in Kenya. And she was like, normally I just turn my back and start to walk away. And then she goes, I turn around, she goes, you don't really believe that. And she goes, he got this look in his eye. And I know that look because I have been, as someone who's like I can pass as white. I've been in rooms with white people who thought I was just white like them, who have said some goof ass shit. And then when they got challenged on it, you realize that they are willing to say wild shit because there's no consequence for them until there is. And the minute that there is consequence for them, they are interested in taking almost every other path except apologizing, because the idea of having to admit to people that they have been taught are inferior, that they are wrong, is incredibly difficult. And I was talking to X about it earlier, like the core of where I think a lot of the centers, and it's going to sound like as an obvious take coming from an agnostic, is in the belief in like a God, in a specific belief in a God. And I'm not trying to say you have to cancel religion or you can't be religious or you can't believe in God. But what I'm saying is the concept of like the idea of believing that there is a space being who made all this and is also judging you for your very minimal actions as to whether you get to go to his cool place or not. And if not, you got to go to hell. But also he made the guy who runs hell. Like that sounds like some shit that you should have grown out of when you got old enough to know better. And when you really
don't hunt for me, Bobby.
Hold on. Let me finish. That it's because like if you're willing to believe in something that requires a leap of faith to get there, then you are susceptible to taking other leaps of faith. And to me, it makes you like very, like if you're believing in that where there's no real proof that that's real, well then yeah, if somebody tells you that Hillary Clinton is killing babies and drinking their blood, like maybe I believe that like the sky being put a body inside of a woman who'd never had sex before and that guy saved us. So like, sure, why not? Like, why not? It could all be the same thing, really.
I mean, look, what you're focusing on is the sensationalism of that thought. But and I'm not a Christian at all. I think it's a waste of effort. I'm fairly agnostic. I think it might be a being that do shit, but I just don't think he's interested in this shit.
Yeah, I don't think he gives a fuck about us.
Yeah, I don't see any reason to pray to it. Especially if it created shit, it already know. It don't need me to clap. It created clapping. So, but what I'm saying is, the on the level that they teach it in the masses, Christianity is about fair play. So you can't tell me that you love fair play and Jesus when you bring people over, make them work for free, rape them, hang them, and then go to church and clap.
But the Christianity they bought into is something else, though. That's not the Christianity they buy into is the idea that they are better. That it is social Darwinism is the world that they buy into. The idea that we're on top because we're supposed to be. Obviously, we are ordained. We enslaved you guys because we were supposed to, and we only let you off because of the graciousness of our own hearts, because we are that good of people. But like, to be the same as us is a thing you will never be. We might even let you run a company or own a team or do whatever, but like when it comes down to it, you will never be, we would never let you have enough control to be in control. They changed the laws of who could be a slave literally so they could keep black people as slaves. They changed the laws because it used to be if you were a Christian, you didn't have to be a slave anymore. And then like, wow, these niggas are converting, so we got to fucking
they convert.
I don't know.
Like they changed.
I don't know if we're having a different discussion. I mean, a different argument. I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, if you really believed all the shit in this book, it ain't no way in hell you'd have a slave in the first fucking place.
I think
there's a part in the book that says you can have slaves. So there you go.
I think the issue is that deep down, I don't feel confident that anybody, no matter how much faith you claim you have, there's always a point, maybe for a moment just before you fall asleep at night, where you're like, I mean, I'm just hoping that that's how it works because that's what I've been devoted to. Like, there's an element of your life where you, like, if you have faith, there's an element of your life where, like, well, I really hope this is what the fuck it is because I've been yelling this shit. I got 8 million followers. I have a church with 50,000 people that show up. Like, gotta roll hard with the shit now. I don't even know if it's, you know what I mean? Like, but my real point behind all that is that if you are just the average everyday Joe who goes to your church on Sunday, you're buying into this shit and you believe the earth is 6,000 years old. Maybe it's flat. Who knows? I've never traveled out of my hometown before. And like, that's the world you live in. Like the idea, and like, we also live in a world where leadership seems so separate from the common person, right? Yep. Like it is the reason why people start thinking weirdly about kings and monarchs when they stay in their fucking castle all the time. You start to think they got to have special powers. How? Because the reality that like life is a dice roll and some people are born in a zip code and some people aren't. And the generations before us have set up a world where that can fuck you sometimes. Instead of like taking responsibility for that and being like, all right, well, if I don't make it, there are some possible reasons, but I could try real hard and do my best. Mm-hmm. And instead going, no, there's a whole thing going on. And it's meant to like enslave us. And like, there's a conspiracy of like these 12 families and these 4 people over here. And they put shit in the water and they like, they're gonna microchip us and all this other shit. And they steal babies to drink their blood, and like all that is like, of course it's easy to buy into that at that point because your world sucks. If you live in a trailer and the people who look like you are telling you the people that don't look like you are the problem, but the people that don't look like you keep getting shit that seems to go their way, and you still live in a trailer. Like you were down to buy some shit at that point. Like, yeah, let's go fucking run up in this house that's supposed to be ours, I guess.
Every poor or middle class or lower white person that I've ever met that believes that shit, when they start trying to justify it, they all have some story about some Mexican person getting some shit that they weren't getting. like, yeah, you know, we applied for that, we didn't get it, but the Rodriguezes, they got it. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, you know what? Maybe the Rodriguezes are better people than you. Do you ever take it? You know, maybe they deserved it. You like, I don't know the Rodriguez's credit situation, but I know yours because I'm sitting here talking to you about solar energy, and you don't qualify. So
we've talked about a few times on here. We've talked about a few times on here this idea that like the thing that has to happen.
I don't sell solar anymore. That was a real people. That was
the thing that has to happen is somehow that fever has to be broken for those people because the real issue is the fact that there are some people that like are controlling how the money actually works here that are keeping both you, white guy in a trailer, and me, black guy, suffer of discrimination and all the other bullshit I got to get through. There is a thing, this could be better for both of us. Do you realize that? And it wouldn't even be that big of a tax on the guys who are doing good. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, yeah, but like the first step though is like, you got to realize that the shit y'all believe in is hoax shit. You got to come back off that bullshit first before we're not meeting halfway because you way off.
Anything that makes sense to the common man or makes sense commonly, would be labeled something that would make you uncomfortable. What do I mean by that? Anytime somebody say, y'all ain't making enough money. What, you a socialist? Like, you know,
right.
The first time you ask for a nice little slice of the pie, they'd be like, oh, here go the socialists. Here go motherfucking socialists. We got to do something about that. And we can't have this. And next thing you know, we can't even have hamburgers because they're going to keep us from having it because they say our farts is killing the world. You know, you can't have any degree of reason with these people. It's no, you can't, like, it's so for me, I'm just trying to stay away from certain folk. Like if I see you with a Confederate flag t-shirt, I'm going the other way. Yeah, because if 100%. You don't kill me, I'm gonna kill you. You understand? I'm not finna let you fuck over me if I got the druthers. And if I'm out of town and I ain't got no pistol or nothing, I'm just gonna walk the other way.
Yeah. And it's
I like the qualifier.
I'm pretty excited right now. I know I think of the 4 people listening in on this broadcast going out. I'm including James because he can hear me right now. I'm the only one that likes Biden to any degree. But this is the only reason why. If you listen to what he said today about what he wants to do, there's a lot of black people who are like, ain't shit go change, blah, 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 ain't gonna shit go change. I don't know about change immediately, but long term, some shit finna be better because the money that he's talking about doing for the stimulus, he's talking about directing it directly towards small black businesses. Like he mentioned it multiple times. There's no reason at this point. He's won the election. He's going in with momentum because the other motherfucker is trashing the joint. Everybody's gonna give him credit for just not being the other motherfucker. He has no political motivation to be saying this shit unless it's an agenda that he believes he gonna try to push forward. So that's why I'm excited about it.
First time you see a nigga with 2 shopping carts, the white person see him going by. All that shit gonna be over.
Oh shit!
I just said, you know,
at Walmart no less.
Yeah.
At Walmart no less.
Now they're in our store buying all our food.
Yeah, you gonna see a nigga in Gelson's in LA, and you're gonna be like, "That's too much. That's gonna be too much for me."
Right? Everything costs more at Gelson's. Everything costs. I'm talking about, man. I walked in Gelson's one day and burped. They charged me 50 cents. They gave like a 50 cent burp. But they got the coolest shit at Gelson's. That's why they could do that. Like they got a bar in a grocery store. You can go in and buy wine and sit there and look, real cosmopolitan while you drinking their wine and eating a slice of pizza.
It's like
Mariano's
is
Chicago Gelson's.
Yeah. It's like that. But like if they were all like ones in Arlington Heights, that's what the Gelson's.
Yeah.
Like if you went to Mariano's in Arlington Heights, that's what it'd be like. But also like imagine a brother at the Mariano's in Arlington Heights and being left alone, right? Like it's not happening.
Ooh, I know this is off schedule. Just let me tell you this real quick story.
Yeah.
I was flying first class. So I sit down in my little cushy seat. They gave me a little hot towel and shit, and I take the towel. And then they bring me the little warm nuts. I'm enjoying my experience thus far. I'm sitting next to a white woman who is trying to figure out why in the fuck is this nigga sitting next to me, right? So she looking at me. I'm doing my thing. I ain't said shit. I've not been in any way inappropriate. Bitch, you don't exist in my world. I have first class. You know what I'm saying? My feet spread out. I'm enjoying it. And this bitch wouldn't let me enjoy it without asking me a bunch of dumbass shit that ain't none of her fucking business. I'm saying I'm sitting here trying to enjoy the fine Corinthian leather seats and shit. And this bitch, well, what do you do? I'm talking about, nigga, we hadn't left the gate. I mean, we had left the gate, but we wasn't wheels up yet. Before I'm talking about the plane hadn't even.
You still rolling on the tarmac.
And this bitch says, what do you do? Now, at this point, I'm like, bitch, I fly first class. That's what I do. It ain't none of your business what I do. But instead of saying that, I said, well, let's have some fun. I looked at it and I said, I have very rare jobs, but 4 of us do it in America, maybe 2 in Europe. Now this bitch is fascinated. Really? And I said, yes. I paint the eyeballs. I work for Mattel. I paint the eyeballs on very rare Barbie dolls. And that bitch looked at me like, what? Yeah, it's 2 of us in Europe and me. And then she looked at me and she like, what? Like she tried to figure out in my bullshit that I'm like, bitch, you are stupid and you don't belong sitting up here with me. You ain't got no business sitting with a nigga this smart, thinking, believing that bullshit I just.
You should have been like, get your ass out of here. You ain't no eyeball painter. You know, rare eyeball painter? What are you talking about? You don't paint no rare eyeballs. That's not some real shit.
Oh my gosh.
She was so afraid of telling you were full of shit, though.
Maybe, she looked genuinely puzzled to me. I don't know.
I'm gonna keep it 100. I don't know enough about Barbies to challenge that. I would.
He'd have just rolled with it. X just been like, oh, wow.
I'd just be like, wow, okay.
X would have tried to tell you. He'd have made up. Oh yeah, I heard about it. A couple other guys I thought might have done some.
No,
shit
here's what I was thinking.
Back in the 90s, I don't know.
I used to have Star Wars action figures.
Yeah.
And the original Luke Skywalker when I was in college. When I was in college, the original Luke Skywalker got up to like $500 if you had like a pristine version of it. And so knowing that, thinking that there's a motherfucker that paints Barbie eyeballs.
It don't sound that crazy to you.
It don't sound that crazy. Like that could be some shit.
You just roll with it.
Hey, the nigga's in first class. Barbie eyeballs it is.
She had some white privilege. White privilege was definitely on display at the Capitol building because they would have I mean, you know, it's been said now, even on Sports Center, they were talking about that shit where they're just like, ain't no way no niggas would have gotten that all up in that damn Capitol.
Dude.
Not only that, but they calmly escorted the people out. We were in the chat talking about it, and I'm like, they can't let them go. Dude, the minute they got up on the grounds, they're on federal property. They're bare minimum, they are trespassing on federal property. They are breaking windows and doors of the Capitol building. Why would they let them leave? If you let them leave, you got to go get them all.
Every single one of them. Every single one of them should get a murder charge. There's 5 people that are dead. Every single one of them, because as part of that mob, they are responsible for all of those people dying. Every last one of them. They should all be charged with murder. Not just trespassing. They should all be charged with murder or manslaughter or something to that degree. Because they are responsible for those. Those deaths do not happen without their actions at all. And to be honest, there should have been more of them dead.
I'm so
However,
glad they got AOC out of there.
Dude, that's another thing that I hope to God.
Man.
The way Biden is talking right now, and I think Merrick Garland is the AG for
He's
this
gonna be
reason.
You want to talk about getting back at a motherfucker?
Yes. That nigga got a grudge.
Let's talk about motherfucker. Mitch McConnell's about to be. Mitch McConnell loses the House Majority Leader seat. He has to be the one to get his own people to calm the fuck down. Okay, Mitch McConnell. This is like the one good time part of the story for me is knowing that Mitch McConnell had to sit there and go, shit. He had to look at these results and be like, and this is legit. I can't. I'd be out of my mind. I'm not old enough to go stand out in the crowd and rush no shit. I can't. I can't be in a goddamn war. I got to try and hold on to the minority leadership. So maybe in 4 years, when I'm 1,002, I can take this motherfucker back.
I actually believe had they won Georgia or won one of the seats in Georgia, Purdue had held on against Ossoff, that he wouldn't have flipped on Trump because he still would have been majority leader. He would have shut that shit down, or he would have he'd let the motherfuckers run with it. But that nigga became minority leader. He was like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm like I'm losing my shit. You losing your shit. You gotta change his Twitter name. You know how hard that is.
You are the reason we lost Georgia. Fuck you. Deal with your own bullshit.
Yeah, because if nothing else, Mitch McConnell is a politician.
It's a pay cut.
Hold on.
It's a pay cut. Majority leader makes more than the minority leader.
Right. But if nothing else, it's Mitch McConnell is a seasoned politician, right? So Mitch McConnell knows why he is no longer the majority leader. And it's not because Mitch McConnell held back $2,000. Mitch McConnell knows that is not, if the person who is at fault in this situation, if you're the Republicans and you're trying to hold on, is not Mitch McConnell. And Mitch knows that shit. Mitch knows that the loss of power on the right is abso-fucking-lutely because of that maniac in the White House. He knows it, and that's why he ain't support that shit. Because if he thought he could have won back in that motherfucker, that dude's been around for so long. Like I told you, he knows every white person. He knew what the fuck was going to happen. That shit was that he knew where the winds blew because he didn't have to poll them. He knows them all. He's like, well, of all the white people I know.
I just want to give Aaron Sorkin this really quick note when he does the movie.
Yeah.
When I want it to be from Trump's perspective, Sorkin. So is Trump looking and you see this chair turn around and it's Merrick Garland like, so Mr. President, let's start this interview. And then that's the end of it. You know what happens after that.
Yeah, Merrick Garland, who McConnell he loses the 2 seats in the Senate. He loses control of the Senate. And the guy who he wouldn't hold the vote for to be a Supreme Court judge is now going to be the Attorney General of the new administration, is how that's playing out.
Ready to investigate all these sorry motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, the reason why I was talking the AG shit, I want to say, when they investigate, I want to know, I've never been to the Capitol. I've been to DC a couple times, but I've never taken a tour of the Capitol or anything like that. So I may be wrong. If somebody out there knows this for a fact, not just making up shit. But I have to imagine that the speaker's house or the speaker's office is not easily accessible when you come.
They had to at least break down a door to get in there.
I'm saying, how the fuck did they even know which way to go?
You know
what I'm saying?
It's
the speaker of the house
in that place. Do you know
that's like they're being. I'm saying, but that's like if you get in the White House, you wouldn't just know exactly where to go to get to the residence.
Yeah, but there might be honestly, there might be some signs there because usually once you get through security, there might be some signs that lead you to places. What there aren't instructions are as to where the secret shit is. So like all the reports, all the podcasts I listened to where they had like either news people reporting from somewhere or like maybe they talked to a senator who was somewhere. All the motherfuckers were like, yeah, I'm in a spot. I'm not going to tell you exactly where that spot is because it's a spot that nobody's supposed to know exists. And so, like, finding her office is probably easier than finding out where the fuck she actually was at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they may be like, yeah, that's where the office is. You ain't never gonna get to her until she gone.
By the way,
the police let them motherfuckers in. The police told them motherfuckers where to go. The police helped them motherfuckers find the shit they was looking for. The motherfucking lease.
That nigga spitting.
Well, that's the thing is like, so one of the big issues was that like they were saying that there were off-duty officers who showed their badges, and that's how when they opened the gates, that's what was happening. They were like, oh, we've 7th district now. Oh, y'all bring everybody in like.
Hey, one other thing, brothers, let's not forget. Everybody that you're gonna call to get these people out work for Trump.
Right.
Well, everybody he done told all these. He knew what he was doing from the beginning.
Dude,
he changed people at the Pentagon who were directly responsible. So that was a big thing. Is like weeks ago there were all these changes made at the Pentagon, right? And this is not too far off the time when Trump was telling people January 6th is going to be wild. He tweeting about January 6th is going to be wild, and at the same time he's replacing people at the Pentagon with people like Corey Lewandowski, right? And so those are the people who, when you're trying to get the National Guard somewhere, that's who you got to call. You got to call up them, and you got to be like, "Yo, can we get some people?" Those are Trump's people at the Pentagon, and he didn't call. It was 90 minutes before they got a call. Like,
dude,
before they
did you hear the
governor? Yeah,
the governor of Maryland, who's a Republican. Like, to hear him talk about this shit. Like, he was like,
he sounded like a Democrat.
Yeah. I like, this motherfucker's like, I was in a meeting and they were like, the Capitol's under attack. He was like, what? Oh, so then I got out of a meeting and I got the National Guard ready. And then I called and then nobody like,
they wouldn't take my call. They were like,
they weren't taking my call. They weren't taking his call. And the motherfucker the dude that approved it was like just a general. Like, he was a general. I think he was like a 4-star general, but he was like a random. The Pentagon is flush with 4-star generals. That's all they got.
This was the dude in charge of making sure
this was like the janitor of the 4-star generals. Like, this nigga was supposed to be ordering.
Keeping the vending machines full.
Yeah, this nigga wasn't supposed to be ordering troops nowhere. That wasn't his gig.
Hey, so this what happened. This is what they say happened. I don't know, but this is what they telling us on the news. They said that when they went to call the motherfucker, he wouldn't call them back. So they call it, hey man, and it was not okay. So the person who actually called back was not the person who was supposed to send the people. You got a secretary of the Army, and then you have a secretary of defense. So the Secretary of Defense was supposed to be getting people to go over there and fuck these dudes up. But
he was over there in the Capitol, probably.
He said next to Donald Trump, like, ignore. Ignore. So Trump finally go, all right, tell the other motherfucker to call. The dude with me, we sitting here eating burgers and shit. We don't feel like you other dude down the way.
And I think that general called and was like, hey man, do you got some troops you can send us?
Yeah, it wasn't a general, it was the Secretary of the Army.
Is that who it was?
Like, the Secretary of the Army.
And that's how the Secretary of the Army isn't supposed to talk like that. He ain't supposed to be like, hey, you got some troops? No, he's supposed to say, hey, send some troops. I know you got them. I'm the one he's running for.
Well, that's because it's not his gig. So he was like, do you have some troops?
You have, what do you call those things? Those, with the guys with the guns.
You send a kid to ask a question, and they be asking it like it's like they're unsure whether they were supposed to ask you the question. Do you have any troops?
Is there troops? Is that what they're called?
I know this may seem wild to ask, but troops?
You got a few you can sit down, couple times.
I mean, he's not even trying to be funny. I'm telling you, if you have been watching this and you haven't seen the interview or any interviews with Governor Hogan, the shit is hilarious because he's like, yeah, I got troops. We're just waiting for somebody to say go. Like, they're ready to go. Like he's watching this shit on TV.
I've been calling you for an hour and a half.
This nigga's watching this shit on TV.
The trucks are fogging over. They've just been sitting in there with the car running for about 15 minutes now.
We didn't have a tank of gas.
We have to get gas on the way over now because we've been in this motherfucker.
You ready to go?
These, we haven't switched over to electric yet. These things guzzle.
Oh my God.
They drink.
We listened to the whole Taylor Swift album, dog. We've been in the car for a minute, goddammit.
They got all these troops lined up at the door of at the door of DC. Like they just sit outside.
Yeah, we've been waiting for so long. It's time for the guys to have lunch, actually.
So they get all these people there to clear shit out, and then they just like casually escorted everybody off the property, like they had just like they had wandered into a house they didn't know that they couldn't be in or something. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, this property is not, the open house isn't until tomorrow. Like what the fuck is y'all?
Dude,
they were holding the lady's hand, walking her down the steps, dog.
The video
they were like, let me help you down out of your insurrection. I know. The
video that sums it up the best. The video that sums it up the best is there's this woman walking. She said, "What happened to you?" He's like, "I got sprayed. They pepper sprayed me. Like, oh, what were you doing?" It's like, "I broke into the Capitol." And he's like, "Well, why'd you break into the Capitol?" He's like, "Guess it's a revolution." She said this shit like it was so matter of fact. Like the mace was the wrong shit. Like not her breaking into the fucking Capitol of the goddamn country.
Like that lady that you sent us the thing where she was talking about how somebody had stolen her cell phone.
Yeah.
And she thought it was this little boy. And she ran up on the little boy and tackled him and shit.
And the reporter's like,
goofy, man.
Yeah, but it's like she go tell the reporter, well, actually, the father pushed me down and he bruised me up too. And he's like, bitch, you tackled his son.
Yeah, that man was doing the thing we be telling dudes to do all the time for their kids. Go get somebody off your boy. Don't
like with a boy, with your child, that's like your number one motherfucking job as a dude. Like you're like above feeding them is keeping motherfuckers up off of them.
Hey man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. And one of them little niggas I helped to be around, they'd have just beat her ass. I'd have had to pull him off of her at 13. And they horny all the time too. They just beating her ass. Now I got to try to tell him, you ain't supposed to enjoy that, man. You can't be doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because dude, when she jumped on him, it was like he was like, okay, why are you doing this? But he wasn't really all that like.
Why are you hugging me weird? But also,
right, what is wrong with you? Like,
as a dad, you gotta get that person off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So, and he pushed her ass down. He should have pushed her ass down.
Hey, here's a general rule to white people: if you see black people in some fly ass hotel or some shit like that, we belong there. We don't hang out those motherfuckers if we don't belong there. Like, you know what happens to us if we hang out there when we don't belong there? We go to fucking jail.
Also, we are specifically looking for you to do some dumb shit, okay? Like, if you don't know, we know that we are an oddity in your location. Like, we are expecting an accusation. We are definitely not stealing shit, okay?
Hey, man,
the only shit I got, like, if I go to a hotel, I have the box for my cell phone, okay? Just so that if a nigga's like,
hey man, let me tell you something.
My bag everywhere. I got receipts on deck for everything with me. Just
picture you in the Sprint store with your phone, like. See, it's the same phone.
Yeah, you ain't accusing me. Y'all know.
I know. I used to tour. Okay, you know, there's levels to touring. For those of you who are listening, I worked in the bush leagues a lot. I worked in little places that couldn't afford much in the way of entertainment. And so I would get there, and when I first started working for this one agency, they didn't put your picture up. They didn't put your picture up. And I would go into a town, and when I arrived, they would say, "Oh, you must be the comedian for the night." And I'm not talking about arrived into the club. No.
Stopped at the local gas station.
No. When I go to the hotel, yes. When I go to the hotel to check in, "Oh, you must be the comedian for the night." I'm like, yeah. Like, how the fuck you know? And then I look around like, oh, I see.
That's the only thing that explains why you here.
Yeah. All of that is related to the same white privilege of the people that just got to freely leave the joint after they broke into the Capitol. They had people with zip ties. Everybody knows like. It doesn't even matter if it wasn't all of them. How many people do you need to choke out a 78-year-old representative? You know what I mean? Like, you need a 15-year-old, one 15-year-old white kid who thinks that the government has wronged him and stolen this election. is a part of this. The crazy thing was after it was over and they finally got everybody cleared out and they decided they're going to try and get through the whole certification that night, is that there were senators earlier in the day who were ready to object, right? And then they came back later in the day and a bunch of motherfuckers was like, nah.
Fuck every ounce of this. This motherfucker sent them people down here where I'm at.
There's part of me.
I was in the room.
There's part of me that's like, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, there's part of me that's like, oh, I'm glad y'all figured it. I'm glad y'all decided not to object, but also like, we've been trying to tell you this for a long fucking, like, I hate motherfuckers who want to act brand new when this is what the shit is. Like, why do you, there's a social media post I made a long time ago that's like, white people really think that everything is fair and even and we just complaining a lot. Like, that's really, like, that could be the only explanation, right? Like, you have to believe that things are actually fair and we're just making a big ado about nothing.
I think some of them know. I think some of them know.
Of course they know, because admitting so would require taking responsibility. And
it would require effort too.
Again, it's yes, because I think of it again as a guy, like I think of it as a guy growing up in a world that's a patriarchal, misogynist world. There is an effort that has to be put into not just being that person, because the rest of the world and everything they're shouting is, this is how it works. And it's very easy to be like, yeah, man, fuck them. Bitches should just be subservient. Give me a sandwich. And I can go, and you can go find a woman probably who would do that. If you go hunt long enough, you can go find somebody who would be down for that.
Because they've been trained to be that. But
because they've been trained to be like that. Yeah, absolutely.
And then to add some more context to it, that's not necessarily, it's going to sound like everything I say about black people. Well, I'm just going to say the shit. If you're black, most of the time, you do that shit because you don't have no one else to turn to, right? So like if I go to my mother's house, all of her sisters, every woman in the house is starting to fix plates for people. Or if they're not fixing plates, they're fixing food. Because the fact of the matter is, especially if they're from the South, the fact of the matter is they understand the system of racism better than anybody. And you as a man are their protector from it. So I got to make sure this motherfucker eat. I need to keep him alive. This is the dude that's going to keep these people off of me. Not only that, this is the dude that's giving me my children. So I can't just willy-nilly say women's lib and burn my motherfucking bra, because I'll be out here by myself. Because when this shit is over with, when we get through burning our bras and tearing this bitch up, I understand what's going to happen. What's going to happen is white women going to get more shit, but I'm not. Everything, every law, every right that black people got, we don't benefit from any of it. Everybody else does. And so because of that, that's why it's a little more complicated, but the general idea is the same. Keep people subjugated to do shit that you don't really want to do.
Well, right, because even in that scenario, that is only that way because the entire system is being forced upon black people as a whole, right? The freedom that black, like, and obviously, yes, black women are taking advantage of their freedoms a lot greater than they used to and are being a lot more independent than they've ever been, and that's supposed to work that way. But that is largely because of this larger fight to free up the oppression completely, because once you are off of that shackle where you have to be physically protected by somebody, then you can be free to not have to make a motherfucker a plate if you don't want to.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And
but so that's gonna be hard to deal with a black woman. She's still gonna think, well, this shit could teeter over any given time, and that's exactly what this week showed us, is that this shit could teeter over any given time. Period.
Hey, but by the way, we don't keep talking about this, but I just want to, because this is one of my favorite memes about this shit too. I think we're skipping over the fact that they found bombs way too much about this shit.
Yeah, they found an IED there.
They found two bombs.
They found
two pipe bombs. I
told you they found homie's car that had 16 Molotov cocktails in it. Those are also bombs. Those are this is car 16. What did you think they were going to do there? What do you think they came there to do with their zip ties and their Molotov cocktails and their IEDs and their constant talk about killing everybody?
Like, there's a thing called RICO that all of these motherfuckers all these motherfuckers top to bottom need to be charged as part of an organized, because like you said, shit's planned out. Like anybody saying that it wasn't planned out is full of shit, because there was an NBC reporter who was talking about she had two security dudes, two big ass like ex-military security dudes with her, because they knew beforehand that it was gonna be some shit.
Her camera wasn't broke.
Yeah, her camera to get broke. Like she had two motherfuckers that was off camera, like scoping the whole shit out and telling her where to move to and all that stuff. Like if NBC knew beforehand,
I mean,
but they told
so
you.
this thing about that's the thing, Rob, is like this thing. The problem that we have here is a failure to communicate. We have a failure to communicate. This is the type of shit my dad would say before he would take his belt off. Is that what we have a problem here is a failure to communicate. These people are not pulling punches. They're not telling you, I'm not sure if we should. They got a whole social media network right now called Parler that they are on, saying that dumb. They were saying that shit on 4chan. They were saying that shit on 8chan. They were saying that shit on Telegram. They're saying that shit on Parler. Some still say that shit on Twitter until they get their shit kicked off of there.
They saying that shit in bars.
They
saying that shit
in cars. They
do
not like black people. They will not eat eggs.
They've been saying that shit in the street while they're defying mask orders, and in their restaurants, and their shit called, and then their bars called shooters so they can bring their guns to Congress. Like, what the fuck do you think these people are about to go do?
Hey, let me just say this real. Let me just interject this one thing. Over your right shoulder, based on your background, is a Facebook. I mean, a Facebook logo, and I don't recognize this other one, but all these logos.
Oh, these.
Yeah, these motherfuckers was on all of them motherfuckers. They was on all of them, telling everybody what they were going to do.
January 6th.
I mean,
he told them people stand back and stand by. And then he told them January 6th was going to be wild. And all them Proud Boys was like, we going out on January 6th. They told people they were going to dress up like Antifa and wear all black. That was in real shit that was passed around. I mean, what more do you like? How come I took it seriously and I'm not in law enforcement at all? And I knew this shit was going to happen and it happened. But I
just real quick. They said they was going to dress up like Antifa and all black. Did I miss a meeting? Are we wearing all black now? I didn't know that. I bought a bunch of black pullovers, but that was a coincidence, man.
Yeah, man, you ready? You pre-purchase properly. That's like when your mom buys you school shoes, and then whatever the team should
happen to be fresh or something.
That's the right shit. That's the right shit for that.
Oh yeah, that is correct. Didn't expect this at all.
Yeah, this worked out perfectly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah.
So they cleared everybody out, and like when you talk about top down, I mean, like I saw a movie on Netflix called The Trial of Chicago 7, which is a real story about what happened in '68 Democratic election, a Sorkin movie. They put those cats on trial for way less than the shit that Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley have done. Josh Hawley was walking into Congress that day with them people outside with a fist raised. Like, what are you? I mean, that is inciting, right? Like, am I a crazy person?
Hey, man, I'm American and I'm white and I can put my fist up wherever I. And here's the thing. I don't put it up your ass. They're
going to tell you that you are crazy. They are telling people right now they're crazy. They are telling people right now that it was Antifa. Kevin Sorbo went in a few short tweets went from what's going to happen on the 6th is going to be crazy. It's time to not let that shit stand anymore. Don't act like Antifa when you go in there. This was Antifa who did it. Like, that was his progress through like 4 different tweets.
Wait a minute. Wait, Bobby, please. Let's rewind the tape. What you just said is that he tweeted, "Don't act like Antifa."
Yep.
When you go in there.
Yeah, listen. Here it goes. It's happening was what he said. That was his first tweet on 1/6. All right. That was at 10:27 a.m. People are storming Capitol in DC right now. His retweet was, "It's happening." Number 2, at 11:17 a.m. History is being made. Number 3, to those storming the Capitol building, Please be careful. Do not act like Antifa. Respect the police and know they are mostly on our side. They're simply trying. They're storming the Capitol building. They're already doing illegal shit. His fourth at 1:00, 45 minutes later. Antifa led the charge into the Capitol building dressed as Trump supporters. This is why we don't fuck with y'all. This is why I am not going to meet you halfway, because it's too short of a journey for me to have to travel for you.
This is why I can't watch that show anymore. I used to love that show. Fuck that guy, man.
I am halfway. This was me halfway. This was me I like all this shit. Like DC's probably gonna get statehood now. All that, like, and to me, honestly, like, I'm sure we need it or whatever. I wanted healthcare. All I wanted halfway from me was give me healthcare, stop killing unarmed niggas in the streets. That's all I really wanted. You could give me them two things, and I'd have been like, whatever, man, trickle some shit down, whatever. I get it.
Hey,
landlord, listen, I'd have been cool with any of that shit. That was me halfway. But you came with this crazy bullshit. You stormed the Capitol at the time when we got the hottest people in Congress. Let me tell you something. Congress is full of ugly people. Okay, Congress is for ugly people who can't act. They're for nerds who are ugly and can't act good. That's why they're all anesthesiologists and they have all 15,000 degrees, because they're ugly and they can't act. Otherwise, they'd be actors, but they can't do that. So they're in Congress. Right now, this is the hottest Congress, and it's like a percentage or two that's hot, right? But it's still the hottest Congress ever. And this is when you choose to storm the Capitol, you are out of your fucking minds. No forgiveness. You figure out how to get your forgiveness from me.
By the way,
I said no regrets.
the two things that you said, I agree with: healthcare and stop killing unarmed niggas
and the hot Congress,
and a hot Congress to me. But stop killing unarmed niggas in the street. We have irrefutable evidence that that's not necessary anymore. That all this "I felt threatened" shit is out the fucking window, because those cops. Do you know this motherfuckers, with the exception of the dude that shot the chick? That popped her, and even when he popped her, you can see he was hesitant.
Let me tell you something about that.
This motherfucker came out with his gun like this. It was like, pow, and then backed away. Shot once. It was a whole fucking army of motherfuckers coming through. He should have been unloading. He popped, and also it shows how effective one motherfucking shot would have been if they wanted to stop those people. When they shot that bitch. And I said it too, yeah. When they popped that hoe, and she went down, the motherfuckers stopped immediately in their tracks. All the motherfuckers got real serious real quick. Like, they were all shocked that shit happened.
Who was those people behind him with the black uniforms on and the rifles?
Those are other cops coming up, supposedly trying to get them and get them out of there.
You can't just keep shooting. You got to shoot when you see something.
But here's the thing though, is like, cops who will get out of cars 2 or 3 faux deep, sometimes a circle of niggas, trucks pulled up. They got Laquan McDonald circle with fucking 7 cars and trucks, 8 niggas with guns on them and shit. They shot that.
There were like a dozen cops.
They shot him 17 times, right?
One guy shot him 17
times. This dude is the last remaining cat between an army of motherfuckers and potentially I don't know where that hallway goes, but obviously that man's instructions were, if anybody breaches that window, you pop that motherfucker. Okay.
I can tell you who was in that building. I can tell you who was in that. Pelosi and McConnell were just like 50 feet down the hall. I
just didn't want to make an assumption, right? Like maybe that's a secret tunnel. That's where the secret tunnels go or whatever. I don't know. But whatever the deal was, like you said, X, that man was concerned when he came out with that gun. He took one single shot, like you said, and then retreated back. It wasn't pop, like none of that shit.
Yeah, that's what he trained. He literally came out. It's like the shit almost looks like it's weird. If you haven't seen the video, normally I wouldn't advise somebody to watch somebody get shot, but from the angle, it's not like you see her explode or nothing like that. You don't even actually see the thing. You just see her go down. But he comes out very fucking deliberately, pop, and then retreats back. And so every fucking cop scenario that he supposedly felt like his life, he's in danger or some shit, is bullshit. Because I just saw how it's supposed to happen. Yeah. And this motherfucker was actually under attack.
Guys, let me explain to you I'm in total agreement with both of you, but understand this: when you start building police departments, you don't get the creme de la creme, right? You get a bunch of bomb motherfuckers who want to shoot people, right? And then as you go up the ranks, not up the ranks of the police, no, I'm saying up the ranks of the departments, because certain departments are gonna be filled with knuckle draggers, know how to what. You understand? And I'm telling you from a motherfucker who worked in one.
Yeah, like the head of the Chicago Police Union, John Catanzaro, or whatever the fuck his name is.
That piece of shit.
So by the time you get to guarding the people who run shit, nigga, this is a machine. I already know. Let me tell you, I've done like private security shit with other private security dudes who are way deeper in security than me. And and they telling me what to do. And I'm doing the shit they telling me, and it's working. I'm talking about not just physical shooting that shit. No, I didn't do that. I'm talking about when they want you to move. Like when we moving now, but this the light. Fuck the light, start driving. And I pull out, people stop, everybody mad and shit. Another car come next to me, and we stop traffic. In a motherfucker in a truck, in a van, like not a limo, but a limo bus with the windows tinted and millions of dollars, comes riding through. Then they tell me, and they got me a little thing. I'm listening. All right, you go to blah blah, and then I go. I'm saying these motherfuckers are precision. It's not like if me and you get in a fight in the bar, we just got to figure out the situation at the time. No, these motherfuckers know. Okay, this is where likely we're gonna have a problem here. This is where we likely to have a problem there. We're gonna destroy everything in the way to get us to where we need to go. And that's why I'm saying that's why you got Pop. Because that wasn't no bust ass type of motherfucker they have policing us.
Yeah.
That's the real police.
Yes, but that also still highlights the problem with the police who are policing us.
Yeah,
that's exactly the problem. Is that like, yeah, maybe the guys who are policing us aren't quite qualified to be running around with guns popping them up. I mean, like, a BB gun will slow a motherfucker down too. You know what I mean? Like, maybe a lesser gun for the guys who aren't good at making pop decisions. You know, like maybe that's a thing we can look into.
And he had all day to think about it.
Maybe less.
And when that bitch jumped up there, he done told him stop. And when she jumped up there, he put on her ass.
Hey man, you know something crazy? There is all this shit is crazy, but there is a dude with the Camp Auschwitz sweatshirt on, long white beard, right? Yeah. That dude was in so many different scenes and pictures. He's out front, he's outside the Capitol before the shit goes in. He was standing in the room when the woman got shot. Like he was in the hallway area.
Yeah, he was on some Forrest Gump shit, man. That nigga was in
Yeah, he really was. He was like evil Forrest Gump. like Forrest Gump, and that nigga get old and this shit starts flipping on him.
South, he was like, I hate AIDS, I hate everything.
Yeah. Whatever. But his best friend did whatever.
So shit got carried away. And at some point, Trump, the first tape, he put out two separate tapes, right? He put out a tape one day that was basically like, that was the one these people had to come back to him and they'd be like, nah, that ain't it, fam. That ain't gonna cut it.
You're special people, and we love you. These niggas just broke into the Capitol. You're special people, and we love you.
And killed one of the cops, though, where he wasn't dead there, but they done bust this dude in the head with a fire extinguisher.
He died later. 5 total deaths, I think, at this point now.
If it was me and I worked for that department, somebody would have to pay. I'm saying, like, if I work there, you gonna schedule me on the day that you know you sent? Okay.
His first video was basically like, even though I got robbed and everybody stole my shit, and y'all know they stole my shit, I love you, go home, which was not cutting it. They were like, nah, fam, that's not.
Did he even say go home?
He said, please go home. He said, I love you, you're very special. Which is wrong. That's not the right thing you tell people.
But they're good people on both sides, Bobby. There's good people on both sides.
If I would just move to the middle. I'm here, nigga. Where are you?
I'm looking for you.
Yeah, I'm at the middle. Did you know this was the middle?
I got to walk another 17 miles to get the fuck out of here. I mean, I've been standing here for 400 years. What the fuck?
Hey, by the way, I just realized something that I hadn't even considered. Have you remember everybody's heard that phrase when Malcolm X went to go bail some people out of jail and he had the FOI with him. That's the security for the Nation of Islam, and he did the thing with his fingers and told them to march, and they all march. And the famous thing where they say no nigga should have that kind of power, right? Trump made tens of thousands of motherfuckers show up, and they broke into the Capitol. We gotta lock this nigga up.
Yeah.
Like, you can't let this motherfucker be on the street. I just realized, this nigga is Lex Luthor right now. Like, I've been saying this shit on stage as a joke. He's literally a supervillain. We gotta build an Arkham for this nigga.
He led people to break into
He's the Joker
Congress.
for real.
He led people to break into Congress, and then people still, after their lives were potentially in danger, came out and were like, yeah, we still objecting to shit. We need to keep this nigga in office. Like, dude, if they'd have caught, I know everybody's like, well, they wouldn't have killed Ted Cruz. You don't know that. You don't know what the fuck they would have done to Ted Cruz. Marco Rubio don't know what the fuck would have happened if they'd have snatched his ass up. They might have fucked Marco Rubio up. They don't have, like, which Ted Cruz are they finding? Are they finding Lion Ted, whose wife is ugly? Yeah. Or are they finding the Ted Cruz who's sticking up for them? Which Ted Cruz are they giving a fuck about when they get to him? Which guy is getting to Ted Cruz? Is it the guy who's 4 drinks in? Is the guy who smoked meth this morning? Which Ted Cruz guy are you going to run into, and who's running into him?
Also, they're not the type of people that Rob just described at the higher ranks of the police. These are random motherfuckers who saying when they start shooting, they go hit who the fuck they shooting at. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Whatever they're trying to do. And they still stuck up for him. It didn't mean anything. They still were able to certify Joe Biden. And then Trump had to put out another video the next day that immediately people started saying was deep faked. Because they still refuse to accept responsibility. Because Trump was like, he didn't concede, of course, but he was like, there's going to be a transition of power. Even with that, they were like, well, he didn't say it was going to be to Biden. He just said it was going to be a transition of power. He still got a trick up his sleeve. And there are other people who are also like, he fucked us. There are people who are turning on Donald Trump on the right now, saying that giving up is fucking them. And so my question is someone picking this up? Do they turn on him? Is it going to splinter even further? I mean,
I don't know.
What's going on?
I don't know, but I will tell you this. One thing I noticed when he told all them out to stop and everything, he said that there will be it wasn't peaceful. The term that he used was not, it'll be a smooth transition of power was the term that he used, which means that it may be another attack coming.
So that's the other issue. Yeah,
that's something that people ain't talk about. There were multiple state houses that got hit at the same time.
Washington,
everybody was so focused on the Capitol. Utah, I believe.
Oregon,
Michigan. You know they was going to Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan.
Yeah.
They had the shit already planned out in Michigan.
Well, that's the other part of it is there's already shit circulating by some of these groups about being back in Washington on the 20th. And, the way that inauguration shit is, there's a shitload of people on the lawn normally between them and the important people, but it's COVID, nigga. You can't have Joe Biden, the new incoming climate change is real, I wear a mask everywhere president, is not trying to get a million niggas out in the lawn during COVID.
Praise him.
Or to act as like a shield between him and the actual danger. Which is what it seems like he needs right now, because I don't know, maybe this sounds wild, but maybe a group of cultists who just tried to break into the Capitol the other day, who also probably include some people who are good marksmen from distance. Maybe it's not great to not know who's who around DC on the 20th, because that seems like when dumb shit happens, right? In the history of how history works and how stupid people do things, this seems like it wouldn't be crazy to be extra cautious about the type of protection around the important folks on the 20th. They found 2 IEDs at the goddamn site at the Capitol building. What do you think they're going to do when they're trying to swear this nigga in?
Hey, you said it right. You said IEDs, and in my brain, it was IUDs, and I was like, nah, that's what
nobody's going to get pregnant.
They get some IUDs and keep the baby of Biden from coming up. By the way, still haven't heard what Hunter Biden's thoughts on all this are. I don't know what he is.
Hey, you know what's nice about all this shit, Bobby? Before we got out,
sitting with the Trump kids in a bunker.
You know what's nice about all this shit is them niggas ain't gonna be on us for like a week. We're gonna have a week where maybe white people fight with white people and they get off our ass for like a week.
I will say this, as people who don't have real power in this country, it was kind of odd to see just like white on white war for a little bit. Like that was, I haven't seen white on white violence like that in a minute. It's been
believe me,
a nice change of pace. It was a nice change of pace to watch Nazis fight themselves.
I bet you Adam Burke got homesick as fuck.
hey, X, I'm gonna tell you right now. Don't go to the grocery store with that attitude.
Oh, I ain't gonna be. They ain't gonna catch me slipping, fam. They not gonna catch me slipping. As a matter of fact, I had to take something back to Xfinity store, and it happened to be a brother who was doing the same thing. I parked in a regular parking space. He parked like right on the curb.
Y'all want to go in together?
And he had. But like his windows was rolled down, right? And I walked past his car, and in the duty of not catching me slipping, I was like, "Hey, fam, your car loud as fuck," and I wouldn't talk about the music.
That's why I had the windows down.
Yeah, I was like, "That's the heads up, though." You know,
hey, if you black, give each other heads up. Let me tell you something right now. They are looking for people slipping right now. Okay, you need to. Give a heads up to your brother. Be a polite one. You know what I mean? Be like, hey, fam, do what you got to do. But let me tell you.
I didn't say hi to the brother. Like we were, like, hey, fam, your car loud as fuck. And I said, I ain't tripping. Mine is too. I'm just letting you know. So I smelled that shit through my mask, nigga.
There's a real talk about a second impeachment. They've got articles drawn up. That obviously, this would be a thing that would carry on beyond the inauguration.
Well, the big thing is he can't run again.
Right, that's the big issue.
Here's what's crazy, man. Unless he goes to jail, there's almost no way that he loses. Because even if they impeach him, he can launch like Trump Media Network and just fucking bash them and blah blah blah. They had to lock me out, and he'd have all his people, and they'd have like some truth to their conspiracy of they didn't want him to run again. Clearly, they knew he was blah blah blah. They cheated him and they blocked him out. But if he goes to jail, he loses all that. So that's why I say you got to put this motherfucker in jail, because he had people walk through and attack the Capitol.
I mean, he incited a coup. That was a coup attempt. He told people to go to the Capitol and be strong. And his main lieutenant lawyer sat up there and said, let's have trial by combat beforehand. And then they went to the Capitol with zip ties, Molotov cocktails, all types of other weaponry, and climbed through the goddamn windows of a building they're not even supposed to be on the property of. So, yeah, I would say that is a reason to impeach, put somebody in jail, and keep them from being able to be around anybody for a minute.
It makes sense. It makes sense for Ted Cruz, although Ted Cruz probably wouldn't go for it, but it makes sense for Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, even Holly. It makes sense for him to vote for impeachment because it takes Trump off the board for 2024.
The issue is they want their people. They want his people. That's what they see. They see Trump. See, the thing is, they see Trump is going away, and what they want is Trump's folks. They want them people to follow them now. And Howley thinks he's a slicker version because he ain't got all the fucking other crazy shit in the world. But they need to put all those people are accessories to what happened. They're all 100 and however many it was, 27 or whatever, whoever the fuck signed on to objections after that shit happened. They are all accessories to what was going on. Even beforehand, they all contributed to it.
Josh Hawley is the horror version of Trump. Like we need to shut that motherfucker down now. He's like super smart. Like he
doesn't have any of the shit. He doesn't have any of the problems. He ain't got 17 wives and shit.
Like the whole shit with Trump. Like when we're like, man, if he actually was an intelligent motherfucker, he could do like all this crazy shit. Josh Hawley's that dude. Like he's that dude. I'm telling it now. So we got this shit recorded. So like 6 years from now, when he's fucking raising his Nazi cult and doing shit, people are like, we had no idea this was coming. And I can play this tape back, and motherfuckers had to pay me.
So we have one more show before the actual inauguration. Do you have any
inauguration?
Right, I know they might want to do that shit in a quiet room somewhere until they come.
Dude, they need to do it. They got to do it in the fucking Oval. Like I don't
just do that shit on Zoom like they do everything else nowadays.
Yeah, we don't need no motherfucking crowd. Like,
get that nigga from the Princess Bride. Crowd. Do you? You're married.
Anyone who has any objections,
yeah, just do that shit and fucking do it on Zoom, man. Do it that way. But I mean, so we'll be back on the 15th. There's 7 days here of like, who knows what the fuck is supposed to happen. Do you have any do you think there'll be more insurrection shit that goes on, or are people biding their time now for a couple of weeks?
I think it will depend on how hard they go after Trump. I think if they don't do anything, there 100% will be more insurrection because they'll feel emboldened. If they go after Trump super hard and like literally like it look like he gets impeached in the next week, I think that actually might fucking stifle some shit because like you said, like they don't want to face repercussions. And when there's like, when, cut the head off the snake type shit, that if that motherfucker had to face some actual repercussions where he got shut down and people, even his own people had to turn on him and be like, nah, man, this is too far. You incited a motherfucking riot and an insurrection. Like, you got to go. I think that would actually go a long way. And I don't understand. Like, I understand politics and they want his people and he's got a fucking money machine. I get all of that, but fuck that. Like, this motherfucker put your life in jeopardy, man.
They still stuck with the rejection, though. You know what I mean? They still hung in after Ted Cruz was still like, yeah, keep my name on the motherfucker. Josh Hawley was literally like, we're going to do it this way because we got to show them this is how it's supposed to be done. You know what I mean? Rob, do you see anything crazy happening before we're back on next Friday, since it seems to be like it's a low time for insurrection?
Yeah, it's going to be a bunch of motherfuckers pardoned. It's gonna be, what you're gonna have to figure out is what is the inside deal going to be. Like, how are they gonna, because impeachment gonna take at least till next week.
Yeah.
Now he got 7 days of shit to do. Now, if he really if to me, the ultimate thing to do would be promise him a pardon, then make the vice president the president. And I know he don't have these type of balls, but you promise him the pardon. Trump ain't gonna look at the paperwork. You can sign anything. You can sign him lunch receipt, and he gonna think he good. And then, as soon as he gets to be the new president, hey, cuff this motherfucker, take him to the White House jail or some shit. Get rid of this dude. Get him the fuck out of here. That's what should happen. But what I think is going to happen is there's going to be a lot of pomp and a lot of circumstance. But eventually, you will get your opportunity to see him fall.
You know what's really crazy cool about that is, technically speaking, it's legal. It's very, very legal for law enforcement to lie in order to get you to concur.
Yeah.
I mean, you can also rescind a pardon.
Yeah. And
if they want to take that to court, you just be in jail while we do that. You just stay locked up.
Yeah. But they could lie, just be like, yeah, we were just saying that shit because we wanted to get your ass on tape saying you did all this shit, Mo.
I think it's important to watch. I think it's important to watch everything around Trump right now, because this is the time when the foolishness starts from people who are fed up and don't think it's going to work their way. And I think that's the thing that's important to keep your eye on right now, is what's happening with all of the sycophants that are around him, because none of those people are necessarily going anywhere. And if he doesn't, and I think you're right, X, like, you got to go hard, because this is that shit where everybody right now is like, if we don't do anything, they'll just go away. They will not just go away. Or they say that shit where if you go hard, they're going to get more upset. Oh, well, why do we punish anybody?
Right.
You're just going to embolden them if you go after impeachment. What are we supposed? Oh, so let's not do anything? Well, who the fuck is learning a lesson that way? Like, who?
Hey, they locked up my cousin Man. The whole block was pissed off. He had good weed, yo. Like, they ain't give no fuck about that.
Not at all.
He was a plug. They ain't give no fuck about that.
That's a perfect way to end it. Rob, we've had a long one today. We appreciate everybody sticking around who stuck around. Or if you listen to this whole thing, it's been great. From Joey Villagomez, Rob, where can people find you online, baby?
Okay, on Twitter, I'm at Robert L. Hines 1. On Instagram is Robert_L_Hines. And I also just added at Original Toby Jones on Twitter and at Original Toby Jones on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I'm about to go live on TikTok momentarily. I'm a little late.
Yeah, he'll find you. Go find him on there after that. XL, where can people find you?
Boom. Right here above my head.
You always gotta outdo me. I finally get my shit together.
You got to make a background for yourself now, Rob. You got to do it. You can find me at Mocha_Jesus on Twitter and Instagram. You can find the show at New OGs Pod on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us at Twitch at New OGs. That's where you can actually watch the show now. We will end up streaming there soon as I get James Webb all that information for that. In regards to James Webb, go find People of Comedy.
Comedy people.
Facebook. Go watch some of those different pods they've got. Go catch Joey Villagomez's stuff. It's pretty awesome. He had Zach O'Ryan on today.
Also, real quick, sorry to interrupt. I do, if you do want to follow me, I don't know why you would, but I do have a link tree up now with a lot of my projects that I worked on, the stand-up specials, albums that have been released, and you can find that at linktree/Aclism. It's the same as my Instagram handle. That's LINK.
Is that how you say that?
Aclism, yeah. It's like it's a play on cataclysm, you know. But Linktree, linktr.ee/ACLYSM to find anything about me.
Go there. He's got great shit. He does great work. He's my favorite producer.
Hey, shout out to Von Yuri. Shout out to my cousin L. Shout out to a bunch of other people who I believe watched the show today. Appreciate you. Love you.
Bunch of people love shout outs.
That's what's up.
A bunch of people love shout outs. Hope we're still around next week to talk again. That's what's up.
Shit, I'll be here. I'll be in Canada.
Why you so mad that I can't fit you on?
I'm going someplace where it's warm, man. I'm tired of it. I did 40 some years that winter and shit. I ain't
So
doing that.
many doubted fuck